And if you want Evil Genius's very own IdrA to take this tiebreaker series, give it up for IdrA now.
Man, the crowd
Much closer that time.
The crowd here is quite electrifying.
Much closer that time.
Well, guys, I do apologize. The scoreboard is a little off. We forgot to update that. But it is currently tied up 1-1.
You forgot to update the scoreboard.
I always forget to update
I don't believe it. Didn't happen. Never happened.
All right, here we are. IdrA at the 9 o'clock position as the green Zerg. IdrA as the red Protoss at the 3 o'clock. It is a big map. It's Terminus. What do you think we're going to see, Pain User?
Look where he put his pylon. That's a relatively forward pylon. He might actually be trying to wall off all the way out there. That's going to be a pretty epic wall. It's the Protoss Great Wall of China that he's trying to erect there. I think farther back is generally what we will see from players. It's a little bit easier to wall off more near the Nexus, and it also opens up the potential for a run-by from IdrA, but we saw IdrA with the potential for a run-by in Game 1. Didn't really capitalize on it. IdrA was able to slow him down with that pylon at the natural, and ultimately bought himself enough time to get that cannon up.
Yeah, well, IdrA right now getting a spawning pool, so pretty common opening here. Not a lot of times Zerg players will go for that 15 hatch anymore against Protoss. Just too hard to deal with that initial scouting probe, potential pylon, potential cannon, and now IdrA not opening up with Nexus first like he did on Tal'Darim, rather going for the Forge opening first. And this may have something to do with the fact that he put that wall further in the front. It's just too risky to go Nexus up in the beginning.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. If you're going to put the pylon that far forward, you almost have to drop that Forge just in case your Zerg opponent, does something sneaky, tries to go for, like a 7-8 pool, something like that.
Yeah, and of course IdrA is capable of going for 7 or 8 pool. We've seen times where IdrA has actually done some pretty crazy stuff. Back a few months ago, he was capable of doing Hydra drops, Ling drops, run-bys, and he was playing a very aggressive style of Zerg.
I don't think I've ever seen IdrA drop a pool before 8 where it actually worked out for him. But yeah, you're right. He did go through a little phase where he tried out some all-ins here and there. He tried 7 pooling a few times in tournaments. Yeah. Never worked out for him. Which is funny because you'd think over time, just luck of the draw, he'd eventually win a game with a 7 pool or something like that. But as much as IdrA hates people who play like that, and here we have a little bit of a run by. He might get 1 or 2 in.
And it looks like IdrA once again trying to do the little pseudo wall, but it was too late, and 2 Zerglings were able to run inside the main. Now, a good Zerg player, such as IdrA, will be very, very annoying with these 2 Zerglings. They're going to be like little flies flying around your face all day long, and IdRA's going to lose a lot of mining efficiency here trying to keep those Zerglings at bay.
Yeah, I agree with you, but he has so many probes. I mean, 2 Zerglings really aren't that big of a threat to him right now. More importantly, the Zerglings are going to provide IdrA with a lot of scouting information. He can keep tabs on what's going on in IdRA's base. He can see how many gas he has. He can see what kind of tech structures he's going to be dropping as well.
Yeah, and IdrA, of course, not only doing, like you said, the scouting, still being annoying with the 2 Zerglings, and for now, getting up that hatchery at the natural expansion as well. Now, because this is a pretty big map, we could be in store for a macro game. It doesn't look like this version of the map features the rocks leading into the 3rd, so that actually makes it even more safer. Simply similar to Crevasse, more safer to get that 3rd expansion up right away.
More safer indeed.
More safer. Thank you.
He is definitely going to be fully walled off here, and it's going to be very difficult for IdrA to get any units into the natural and harass him. And he still has those Lings running around the main right now, scouting and just being annoying, like you said.
And 1 Zergling now going to the natural. Gonna check to see the gas on that nat. Nothing going right there so far. And the other Zergling, it looks like it probably went down inside the main. Now there is a probe that has made its way over to IdRA's base as well, trying to do a little bit of a scout mission. And IdrA getting the quick 3rd. And once again, similar to Tal'Darim Altar, he's placing the hatchery outside of the destructible debris, and then he's gonna destroy that and get that hatchery down.
Yeah, same exact thing we saw out of him on Tal'Darim. Virtually the same build order in its entirety from IdrA here. Let's see if he actually decides to drone up a little bit more this game. We have some additional gateways going down here for IdrA as well. Gates 2 and 3 coming, and he's just working down those rocks over at the destructible. I think he's actually gearing up to take a very early third here. Finally clears that Zergling out of his base. Good God, that must have been frustrating.
7 minutes into this game, a Zergling has lived till 7 minutes inside the Protoss main. That's got to be a new record. Great job by IdrA. He gets a full scout off. Now, of course, that also delays IdrA by a little bit because no doubt he had to wait for his structures. He had to wait to kill the Zergling before he could reveal his structures. And now we do have a robotics facility, a couple of gateways coming up. Pretty common standard opening here from IdrA. Now, he could go for that Warp Prism play again, Pain User.
Yeah, he certainly could. He's actually getting a much earlier robo facility than we saw from him in games previous, which is interesting. Not sure what he really intends to do with this. One reasoning behind that could be the fact that he hasn't really scouted IdrA at all this game. He has no idea what he's up to. He doesn't have a count on units. He doesn't know how many roaches and links. Yeah, but that was so long ago. At this point, you know, IdrA could be all-inning him. He could be making a drastic tech switch like we saw in Game 2. So he might just really want to get an early obs out. And there we have the Observer coming, and he could follow. Ooh, never mind. He's actually getting a robotics base, so going to transition straight into Colossus here. And, you know, I actually like that play on this map. Colossus are really good. Well, they're really good on every map, but they're great on this map as well. And
didn't we make the analogy of Colossus is like a flying siege tank?
I mean, I don't know what analogy I would make. It's like if you blended all the best units in the world. Super range, superior damage, superior mobility.
Superior health. The only drawback it has is it can be hit by anti-air.
Well, they cost a lot of supply, and they're also super expensive.
That is their balancing factor.
Yep, and also units like the Viking and the Corruptor are very good at dealing with Colossus, obviously, but sometimes, man, I just find them very hard to deal with.
Well, you know what else is pretty hard to deal with nowadays is the Warp Prism, which it looks like IdrA is going for. We have the Warp Prism on the way right now. Now, no Dark Templars. He did get the Twilight Council, so he may instead go for Blinkstalkers, or maybe it's going to be delayed Dark Templar in conjunction with the Warp Prism. A Zergling did try to run by. It got stopped by the Photon Cannon, so it did not see the robotics facility.
And you know what he's actually using that early robotics bay for, HD? He's getting speed for, he's getting the Gravatic boosters for the Warp Prism. So his Warp Prism is going to have the speed upgrade. It's going to be zipping all over the map. That's going to finish in just a second here. We can watch that Warp Prism get its Afterburner upgrade, and it will start jetting all over the map and causing all kinds of problems for IdrA. With the new speed bonus, or with the health bonus and the speed upgrade, Warp Prisms are actually a force to be reckoned with now. They can cause a lot of problems for the Zerg.
Wow, Afterburner thrusts are now online.
Indeed.
It looks like the Warp Prism is... How does that thing even move, man? I don't even know where its gravity source or energy source comes from. It just floats around.
No propellers, no jets.
Nothing.
It's
Here
like,
it is. It's going to drop the Zealots in.
4 Zealots get dropped into the third, and they're going to start working down these drones. But one thing that we've seen a lot of the Korean players do is that while they're doing this Warp Prism harass, they're moving their army out on the field. They're attacking other points. For instance, he could be dropping these Zealots in the back here at the third and hitting the fourth at the same time. The fourth for IdrA going up right now, largely undefended because he had to pull all those units back. But if you just use the Warp Prism to harass in the fashion that we're watching right now, IdrA's going to end up losing a lot of units, and he's not going to do that much damage.
Now, one thing that IdrA is doing decently well this game is spreading creep out across the map, and I can tell you guys as a Zerg player, it's sometimes very difficult to spread creep on this map specifically with the little ledges going up and down. You have to get vision on the high ground, then the low ground.
He's dropping again with the Warp Prism.
The Warp Prism is going in, Pain User, and oh my god, the Warp Prism has gone down! The Zealots inside the mineral line look like they're going to do a little bit of damage, but I don't think that was enough to justify the cost of that Warp Prism and the Zealots going down.
I definitely don't think it was, and we have a lot of gateways going up here for IdrA. He is stepping it up to 8 gates right now. He's also producing Colossus. He transitioned into Colossus after the early game phase and after that drop play, getting ranged as well for those Colossus, and he's about to finish +2.
Pain User, look at the drone and probe count for both these players, man. 89 and 92 and 83 right now. That is insane.
Yeah, I would say it's just about dead even. If anything, that favors IdrA a little bit because, you know, he's on a healthy 3 base now. IdrA just taking his 4th, getting a lot of spine crawlers out in the midfield right now. And I think we might have a odd timing push here coming from IdrA. I wasn't expecting this at all.
Looks like the Archons aren't joining the battle. They may be stuck in the main for some odd reason. I don't know if these guys need a navigation or a map or something to get out of the base, but they're stuck. And I don't think IdrA wants to move out without his Archons in conjunction with his army.
Yeah, that's a lot of added beef. 700 shields.
Oh, they are stuck.
Yeah, he'll be able to get them out after he takes down that gateway, I hope. There we go.
There you go. So here's the thing. IdrA has a lot of spine crawlers in the middle of the map. This is something that Zerg players have been doing lately to deal with Protoss. Simply put, if you have a lot of crawlers in the middle of the map, it can deflect the Protoss attack. It can make the Protoss think twice about moving in on your 4th hatchery. And of course, the creep spread also serves as a buffer zone as well. So right now, IdrA looks really well defended. I don't know if IdrA can actually attack that location, even though he does have quite a powerful army.
I love the unit composition out of IdrA as well. He has enough corruptors to really shut down the Colossus. He has enough infestors for proper fungal growths here. And here we go. Oh, no. Just using the spine crawlers right now as a buffer to try and control space and control IdrA's army movement.
Now we do have Broodlords on the way as well. It looks like another Warp Prism comes in. He snaps the Greater Spire with the Warp Prism play. That is so huge. However, there are 6 Broodlords that were already morphing on the field. So it's not like IdrA didn't have the Broodlords already ready to go. He does have 6 on the field right now.
Certainly a small victory for IdrA either way. That's a lot of money and time invested in tech that you're just not going to have anymore.
My God. There's a fleet beacon on the way.
Awesome.
Your
awesome.
response is perfect.
I had no idea what you were talking about. I was just like completely clueless. Then I threw my production tab open, and yes, indeed, there is. Look how many gateways he has, too. My goodness.
All right, we've got that Afterburner Warp Prism on the way right back into the main again. Let's take a quick glance at that gateway count. Jesus, that's a lot of gateways. And here comes the Warp Prism, dropping off 4 Zealots and warping in additional units as well. This is what's really annoying as a Zerg player, and IdrA is exploiting that to the most potential. It looks like he's going to maybe kill off a couple of drones, but there's quite a bit of defense there, and I think IdrA isn't going to be able to do much more damage.
Yeah, but I mean, what he's doing right now is just sort of picking IdrA apart where he can.
Yeah.
He's doing damage when and where he can and forcing him to relocate units. And look at that. See ya. I am out of there.
The Warp Prism now can laugh in the Corruptor's face. It is that fast,
He
man.
actually turned it around, started to warp in some
Oh no,
units.
he's going to lose the Warp Prism now.
I think he is.
Yeah, the Warp Prism's going to go down. That's a bit of a sad story.
Wasn't paying attention right there.
That's
but
what you get for laughing and being cocky.
look at the brute force of IdrA's army right now, though. So many Archons, so many Stalkers, so many Colossus, and oh my God. IdrA throwing away 15 to 20 supply worth of roaches right there. Just now bringing his Broodlords and Infestors over to try and deal with this, but IdrA expanding across the middle of the map like he's a Zerg player, throwing down cannons everywhere. I mean, this is absolutely amazing macro we are seeing out of IdrA here. He's out macroing IdrA.
Yeah, this is insane. Now, both players have a very large army, but in about 5 seconds, there it is! The Mothership has arrived! The Mothership has arrived! The mighty Protoss Mothership is here. Now, what does that actually do in Zerg versus Protoss? A Mothership can keep the Brute Lords away, can keep the Corruptors away with one very well-placed Vortex. Not only that, keeps your army invisible. And if you're really good with your Stalkers, you can snipe off the Overseers one by one and prevent detection from the Zerg player, thereby making the Mothership and the Cloaked units that much more powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's certainly a cost investment, it's certainly a supply investment, but it doesn't hurt to have. Now, is he gonna wait for enough energy for the Vortex here, or is he gonna make his move now? It looks like he's just gonna make his move right now. No Vortex, no nothing, and IdrA actually getting pretty cost effective right here.
Yeah, IdrA moving out before his Mothership had enough energy to use a Vortex. A little uncharacteristic. I feel like he's gonna lose a large majority of his army. The Brood Lords are engaging and destroying everything, and constant fungal growths are keeping the Mothership in place. IdrA's unable to extract the Mothership. Now, there was a Warp Prism, and I'm not entirely sure where it went. It looks like Maybe flying in. There it is. It's in outer space. But there's
Vortex
the Vortex
goes down, eating a few Broodlords right there. Also blinking in, taking out some additional Broodlords.
Oh, wow. I love how he sent the Archons into the Vortex. As soon as that Vortex unleashes everything, those Archons are going to have a heyday on the Broodlords. The Broodlords are all going to go down. Beautiful play by
Oh my
IdrA.
God.
My goodness.
The mothership finally goes down. IdrA now reinforcing with his mass gateways, bringing in as many stalkers as he can. But this is going back and forth to the wire here.
Yeah.
Neither player with a discernible advantage
There's
right now.
the GG! IdrA wins the game! IdrA wins the game, and IdrA really was never behind. I don't understand.
I don't know why he left right
IdrA
there.
was never behind. IdrA was not behind in that game, and he leaves the game.